You did it. 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 You crossed the threshold. You clicked the button, and so it begins on this day 132 of Office Hours. Office Hours, of course, is the daily check-in with you beautiful folks across all 5 branches of the fandom. I'm Brian Brushwood. Look, if you just got here, I'm kind of the internet's older brother, and whoo boy, I've seen some stuff. That's what I share with you guys. The secrets, the insider sauce. And now we're in the middle of going back to the beginning, to the show that put it all on the map. That's right. We're going back to Scam School. Scam School, if you missed it, Scam School was the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. Scam School, it's the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. These beautiful, fine folks, they're the best. They're the only ones who matter. Don't tell my family. These are my favorites. They're the Diamond Clubs, the elite, the hardcores, the ones who pay with the coin of the realm. Their time, energy, and effort. They show up every single morning, and you should too. Just join us. Be in the chat, earn your Diamond Club wings, and you will be able to flash that sigil, that gang sign, at the next conference you see me at, and jump the line of my attention. Today, we're going to a big one, an important one. Episode 32 of Scam School, called the 11-cent slide. Now, this was one that was already crushing it on YouTube. In general, everything we've done up until episode 32 was uncovered on the internet. It wasn't burnt material at all. And in this case, this one was popular, but it was just so good. And it didn't have a catchy name. So I coined the 11-cent slide. I think originally it was done with like Chinese coins. And it was just one of those you would click and look at in the abstract, but it wouldn't really land with you. And so by making it 11 cents, by having it be a dime and a penny together, it made it feel more Scam School-ish. I don't think I had the heuristic down when we made this one, but we'll take a look. We're going to watch this whole thing. You guys post your comments in the chat, your questions. We'll get to all of them in the content, and I will answer all your questions. Here we go. This episode of Scam School brought to you by Netflix. Welcome to the show that's more than a short skirt and good looks, Scam School, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. I'm your host, Brian Brushwood, and as we've said before, doing a good trick wins you goodwill, pulling off a good puzzle wins you good beer. And in this case, we have one well worth the price of admission. This one fooled me quite badly. We call it the 11-cent slide. What's going on? I'm Brian. What's your name?
Elijah.
Elijah, and you are?
Tori.
Tori. All right, we're going to play a little puzzle game here.
Okay.
If you get it right, I will buy both of you a beer. So that's 2 beers if you get it right.
Excellent.
If you get it wrong, I'll ask is that the 2 of you guys chip in and buy me a beer.
Totally.
Sure.
Fair enough?
Yes.
Here's the game. You can move 2 at a time, right? Imagine there's a straight line all the way through, so everything has to end in a line. We're working totally linearly here.
Okay.
You can move 2 at a time. Every time you move them, you got to move both a dime and a penny.
Okay.
I pointed to the wrong ones as I said that, just to mess you up. Dime and a penny. So, for example, that would be a legal move, and that would be a legal move, but that would be an illegal move because I'm
Okay.
moving 2 dimes.
Right.
Also, you can't move 1 at a time, obviously.
Okay.
The goal is, within those rules, you want to start with them arranged like this, dime, penny, dime, and end with them like this.
Okay.
You figure it out, I'll give you a beer.
Okay.
So we'll set this up for you. I can do it in 4 moves or 5 moves.
4
so
or
there's a
5.
lot of different ways to do it.
Okay.
All you have to
Okay.
do is end up in that configuration.
All right.
Let's just try moving stuff around.
Okay.
There.
There you go, that's 2 of them together.
2.
All right.
Okay.
And then what is
There. That's 2. Oh. But they have to still be in a line when you do it. But you could go that.
Yep, that's valid.
And then you can move these.
No,
No.
yeah.
That's right. You have to move a penny and a dime. No.
All right.
this way.
Alright, that got us back to the starting position again.
Yeah.
So it was an elegant way to get there. You guys are really on to something.
Alright.
That way.
Okay.
That way. Can't do that. But then,
You guys giving up yet?
no, not quite.
Yeah, that's a
All right.
fighter. All right, now here's the deal. I'm going to up the challenge here because I know it's a difficult puzzle, right? And some people think there's no way they're going to figure it out. I'm going to do something I never do in a puzzle. I will actually show you the answer, and all you have to do is do it again after I show you the answer
Okay.
Alright.
for double
All
or
right.
nothing.
Double or nothing?
Okay. All right.
Alright.
2 beers
Two
for
beers
you.
on the line.
2 beers on the line. I am going to muck it up just a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm going to show you the version that's done with 5 moves.
Okay.
I want you to show me the one that's done with 4 moves.
Okay.
Okay.
Same principle, right? Here we go. You ready?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Did you see that? Is it formulating? So those went first. So then one of these go next.
Let's do it.
So these go here. And then if those go there.
It's harder than it looks, doesn't it? I tell you what, even if you can recreate the 5 move, I'll give you a beer.
Oh no. Can I see it again?
I already gave you the answer.
You totally have to get it. He just showed us. That way.
And you're back where you started.
Back to the
Yeah.
beginning. Full circle. And then
I don't know.
Oh, mighty thirsty right about now.
I think we might
2 beers.
I know.
Now here's the thing, you don't even have to buy me the 2 beers, but if you want both the answers, I'll sell you to them at half price. For 1 beer, I'll give you both of the solutions.
Okay, let's see it.
Fair enough?
All right.
Sounds like a
Deal.
good
A pint of Guinness. It's over, over, swap, obvious, like that. Right? That's the 4 move one. So see if you can recreate that one before we learn the 5 move one.
Okay.
Alright.
So it's over,
Over.
and then over again. Over, over. No.
Over.
Over, yeah, over,
Over.
over. And you can touch there.
Okay.
And then swap.
Swap.
No, you didn't swap.
The middle 2.
Swap. No.
Nope,
Yeah,
swap.
swap.
There you go, swap. No, you had it right, you had it right. And then obvious. What's the obvious last move now? There you go.
Yeah.
So remember, over, over, swap, obvious. I bet Elijah can nail it. All right,
Okay.
Elijah, show me.
right.
Over, over, swap, obvious. Over. Nope.
Alright, okay.
Over. Over. Swap. There you go. Obvious. Hey. Okay, now I don't like that one's one that if somebody's got eagle eyes, they'll actually see the method and be able to recreate it because it's pretty simple. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4. If I give away the solution, and that's one of the amazing things about this puzzle. It's one of the only puzzles I know where you can flat out give the answer and people can't recreate it. So if you want to do the 5 move solution, instead of overshooting it like this, going 1, 2, 3, 4, instead, we're not going to overshoot this time, but it's pretty similar. This one, what you do is again, you start with over, and you do over again, this time touching. The third one is still an over, but you start in the middle. Over, over, half over, and then it's swap and obvious. Okay, and the nice thing is if you do it fast, there's no freaking way. It's over, over, half over, swap, obvious. So you want to try it with the 5, see if you can recreate that one?
Let me see.
Sure. Let's see what Sean says.
So it's over, touch, and it's touching on this one. Yeah, over, over, half over, swap, obvious. There you go. You guys got it. Now that was worth a beer, wasn't it? Dude, you guys are fantastic. Enjoy it. Use it in good health.
You enjoy your beer.
Where's my Guinness? Yeah, where is that beer? One of the best parts of the 11-cent slide is that it's actually 2 puzzles in one. They'll already give up trying to solve the very first setup. Then you can sell them the answer for double or nothing. All they have to do is reproduce your answer and they're in, and they won't be able to do it. I can't tell you how amazing this puzzle is. So that's why I want to hear your stories of success. Post them at the boards at revision3.com/scamschool. Any question about this puzzle, or if you want to suggest your favorite bar trick puzzle, write me directly at brian@revision3.com. Until next time. Oh, by the way, next time we got something really interesting. We're actually going to learn how to sober up instantly by wolfing down a bunch of charcoal. But until then, I'm heading back to the bar. Do you know who we love this much? Our sponsors at Netflix.com. With Netflix. All right. Ain't nobody need to be told about Netflix. Boy, it's really remarkable how many of these episodes were really pinned down by the limitations of the shooting equipment. Here, let me see if there's anything interesting. Oh, look at this. Here we go. Check this out. Remember to type the www when using this code. They start touching. I remember you could do it with them touching. All right, here's what I remember. All right, you ready? It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. No. It was 4. We could do it in 4 moves.
We can do it 4 or 5.
I remember we could do it. There's one way to do it in 4 and another way to do it in 5. Son of a bitch, we are the worst people ever. What? I'm gonna have to call my wife and make her find the goddamn card. Now I'm every punk I've ever laughed at now. This is the worst thing ever. Okay. 1. This is what happens when we write down a card for the solution to a puzzle and then we lose the card. So we're actually trying to figure out our own puzzle because I don't remember how it goes. And Jonathan is convinced he remembers, but we can't solve our own goddamn puzzle. And then 3. And then 4. No, and then 4. And then you're back where you started. Look, we'll do this one tomorrow. Everything's cool here. The host has everything under control. Oh man, that last part really made it, dude. That was great. Oh wait, hold on. There we go. Kill that. Do that. Hey, we did it. Yeah, this last part actually really sells the fact that it is hard to remember, and that probably was when I anchored down the over half over swap obvious mnemonic on there. This one is really, really good. It speaks to the fact. Oh, let's go ahead and lock in your predictions right now. Make your guess at how many views this episode has gotten ever since 2009. Posted in 2009. Here's one for all you people. Whatever happened to this channel? It used to get gazillion views. Now it gets less views. Spoiler alert. The views were always less than you wanted. Our advantage is that we've been around forever, and we've had a few outliers that have gone to the moon. So let's take a look at this. In this case, the 11-cent slide. 10,000 views. You guys had some good guesses. 12,000 was pretty close. 11 million, a bit high. Just a little bit. So in the case of this one not exploding, I think the performance was good. This was in the early days. Remember that we were creating 4 RSS feeds. The audience was people at home who had downloaded onto their iPod video and watch as part of their daily grind. And what we wanted to convey was something that felt like television. And so it continued to do so. Unfortunately, the limits of production on this one, you've got the dimes are virtually indistinguishable from the dark grain on the wood. And weirdly, the pennies pop a little bit better, but like I couldn't tell if this was a dime or a penny just from looking at it on the color there. So in this case, I think in later iterations of this, we made sure to make it more visible on there with the contrasting background. And possibly, in this case, I did dimes and pennies because they were roughly the same size. They're the only US coin that is obviously nearly the same side. Unfortunately, you just don't get the color contrast. But there's also a fair bit. Look how long it takes. Under YouTube rules, you've got to draw the audience in immediately and make them the main character. So in this case, there might be other people there, but I'd really set it up in such a way where at dual layers, it would speak to the home viewing audience, somebody who might be tempted to click away. YouTube is a uniquely interesting environment in that when you go to a movie theater, you pay your $50, you get your popcorn, you sit down. It's extremely unlikely that 2 minutes into the credits, you're going to say, this sucks, and then get up and leave. And most certainly, you're not going to sit there watching this 2-hour masterpiece while off to the right, there are a bunch of active advertisements suggesting other things that you probably should be watching instead of it. So that's a very uphill climb. So in that regard, it doesn't entirely surprise me that this one never really popped. But that over, half over swap obvious is pretty good. And it really does make it so that you can show it. In this case, I'm running really, really fast as I'm showing it to them. But you don't have to go that fast. Although, if you're worried about being caught, that's worth considering. Here we go. Take a look at this moment. Where's the... There we go. So it's over, half over, swap, obvious. And it's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The cadence in there, yep, and that's 100% right. Oh yeah, it's Adam. We get close to the C block here, but you can tell that it hasn't quite clicked. There's another moment that I noticed is the click of the ritual of always ending with a toast at the end. There's still a bit missing in there for the rhythm of it. But no other game uses Price is Right rules. How come? Okay. A little off slick. Boop, boop, boop. Awesome. All right, so let's do this. We're gonna answer all the comments from the old times. The Netflix nostalgia. I hope. So I could do it in 2 moves. I most certainly cannot. And so in this moment, I can say I can meet force with force, or I can do the 2 most important words. Show me. That's in the culture of the skunk works. That's how they settle all their debates. They make a bet. They're like, show me. Over, half over, swap, obvious. Or big over, swap, obvious. Yep. Could you move 2 different coins that are not side by side? Also, why is it called the 11-cent slide? I do believe you just answered your own question. That dude has nail polish. Yes. No camera, or I would. Got a camera yet? You are. I could do it in 2 moves. Show me. I've done it. I just can't remember how I do it. Been there. See the end. Great. Great, 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 great. Newest? Oh, wait. It's filtered out all the negative comments. Oh, no, wait. Actually, no, I just commented a whole bunch more. Never mind. Ha. Got it. Is this multi-streamed? Yeah, Meki 2000. So office hours is the one thing that I can do that applies to all my projects. So it goes out on twitch.tv/Night Attack, on Scam School, on YouTube, on Modern Rogue. It even goes out to LinkedIn and my Twitter. Although I don't know if the Twitter feed is working. If anybody is just goofing around, I'm really curious to know if these are posting. I saw a restream comment that mentioned that it was having trouble with X. I have mixed feelings about Skunkworks making hypersonic, hyperlethal superjet planes on the basis of bar bets. Yep. It's when I'm reading all these books on innovation, partly because I'm trying really hard to innovate myself and come up with a new way to rethink security training. Speaking of which, would you guys be interested? I have a rough cut of the talk that I gave. Do you guys want to watch the rough cut? It's very clearly me doing extemporaneous. It's not polished. It's not polished, and I don't know that I'll publish it anywhere else. Okay, so it says it posted on Twitter fine today. Good. Well, here, let me see if I can find said thing. I'll do this. This is my first closing keynote at a security conference ever. It gets a little bit rambly. But you can see the pieces are there, and I think there's 1 or 2 moments that need to be punched up. Okay, so we're going to have a few disclaimers. First of all, a few disclaimers. I threw some slides together the day of the presentation because I knew in general the things that I wanted to touch on, but I didn't have a polished, seductive talk. So what you're going to get is authentic. Some of you have heard bits of this before, and near the end, there's going to be a lot of slides that you'll wish you could see closer. But and I have them, but sorry. Anyway, let's take a look at this rough cut of my talk from Convene.
I'm here at Modern Rogue. DRP, wolf masking, urgent framework for SAT in the face of the scam apocalypse.
Yeah, there we go. That's it. I love all the way down to the kind of pitying
That's a
applause.
fine word salad there. My name is Brian Brushwood. I'm a magician, and I think I saw something pretty interesting. Sometimes an outsider sees something weird, and it has ripples that cause everything. Now, I've never been to a full security conference like this. I've never done a closing keynote like this, but I hope after some of the bad news that we just got, I've got some fresh ideas and fresh perspectives for you guys to try and build something out of. But as we began, first thing we got told by Caitlin was that we need to grab people's attention. So I'm gonna catch you up to speed on the last 20 years of what I've been up to. Here we go. Hello, my name is Brian Brushwood. I spent 20 years performing bizarre magic all over the United States and internationally, as far as Istanbul and Indonesia, doing punk rock blood and guts magic, shoving nails in my eyes, cutting off my tongue and all that stuff. I headlined 3 years at Universal Halloween Horror Nights, appeared on The Tonight Show twice. I became a tech pundit. I hosted a video game show. I even performed in the court of Lord British. And yes, this is a true fact. I designed mind control experiments that were performed on the International Space Station. Also, I hosted TV shows on National Geographic and the Science Channel, and faked a best-selling erotic fiction book, and had 4 chart-topping comedy albums. I think that's it. But the most important part was 10 years ago when I had the idea for a little show called Scam School, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. Since then, week after week, we've shown up hundreds of episodes and we've taught 250 million people a few cool tricks to be the most interesting person in the room. And it's time for us to start thinking bigger. Bigger? What does that mean? Well, in this case, after 20 years of touring and doing all that nonsense, we started my passion project, because it turns out that the structures that make for a good deception, for a good magic trick, map one for one onto scams and cons. So about 5 years ago, my comedy partner, Justin Robert Young, and I started doing a show called World's Greatest Con. We try to find outside perspectives on how the scams and cons happen, and our tagline is always the same.
Cons don't fool us because we're stupid. They fool us because we're human. And this might be the world's greatest con.
If there's one thing I can encourage you guys to listen to on your way back home, give Season 1, Episode 1 of World's Greatest Con a try. It is the astonishing, extraordinary tale of how the Allies pulled off, quite literally, the world's greatest con. How many of you guys have heard of Operation Mincemeat? Oh, so many of you guys are in for the surprise of a life. They decided to fool Hitler into defending the wrong coast. The most obvious place for an Allied invasion was right in Sicily. That's the ball that the boot's kicking. So they planted a body filled with lies, and it was up to Hitler to fall for it. And he did, defended the wrong coast, possibly ending World War II. A lot of people have said really nice things about the podcast. I'm extremely proud of it. But after that, we did an anthology of game show scams, not just if you've ever seen Quiz Show or The Luckiest Man on Earth. All of these, you begin to see this rhythm again. After 5 years, you begin to notice the same patterns, and I reached the conclusion that humans have certain archetypal structures in our mind. We tend to do the same thing. A scam looks an awful lot like a magic trick, looks an awful lot like the way marketing campaigns work. And around this time, another podcast I do is called the Weird Things Podcast, also with Justin Robert Young, and this is Andrew Main. He is now the host of the official OpenAI podcast. He's one of the first 150 employees, so we had privileged access before anybody had heard of ChatGPT, before it was announced. Back when it was a technical demo called GPT-3, we were playing around with it, and I began to see that those soft skills, the word salad that we think of as being innately human, soon some of these jobs could be done by robots. And it occurred to me that we are looking at what happens when things could scale. And sure enough, like clockwork, 2023, I get a phone call from a police detective in Colorado. He's got a victim who's been the victim of a pig butchering scam. He lost tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they traced the money as far back as the Philippines, and he said, "I'm sorry, my guy, that's it. That money is gone, G-O-N-E, gone." And then 1,000, 2,000. 10 days later, the guy says, "I have wonderful news, terrific news. A law firm reached out to me. They said they could recover most of the money. It's only gonna cost $7,000. And sure enough, I clicked on that website, and boy, oh boy, was it a good fake. Did it look like a legitimate law firm? And then that's when I thought, it's coming. It is coming. A scam-pocalypse, a wave. The bad guys have robots now. And even worse, we have an entire subsection of society that is absolutely not prepared for it. If you have $10 million in the bank, you know to be on guard against scams. If you got $1 million in the bank, you know you should be good about scams. If you have $10,000 in the bank, you've spent the majority of your life totally scam-proof. That is couch cushion money, money that is not worth, is not profitable to arrange a bunch of humans to trick you into doing something. But the bad guys have robots now, infinitely patient robots. And if I was a bad guy scammer, I would be spending compute right now to just make friends with literally any male between 60 and 65. Just start being friends, pop up once a month, happy birthday, how's the wife, whatever, because 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 7 years from now, It's going to be past SMS. It's going to be emails. 2 years from now, it's going to be how do you do Zooms. And then by the time they're 72 and retired and have money to steal, it will be absolutely inconceivable to them that they have been friends with a robot the entire time. This is happening right now. At least that's what I thought. And then this report came out from Deloitte. This is the hockey stick. This is the wake-up call. This is our inconvenient truth. This is FBI data showing that back in 2017, we had about $2 billion of reported deepfake assisted fraud. What did we hear? The stat was 14% is what gets reported, so obviously a lot more. Now we're right around, what, here, $16 billion a year of reported fraud. In just 18 months, we should be looking at $40 billion of reported fraud. And of course, people don't want to report this stuff because there's deep shame to it. One of the things that has heartened me so much at Convene is to hear so much of the same sentiment. We are not about checking those boxes. We are about protecting the humans. And I hear it in different voices, in different presentations, again and again. And I want to let you in on a strange epiphany that happened in Vegas in 2025. The #1 magic convention in the planet is called Magic Live in Las Vegas. And in it, people come in from all over the world to do magic for each other. Magicians, here's a spoiler, we're all secretly junkies. We are all chasing that high of the first time that we've been fooled. We desperately want to get fooled again, to have our reality broken. Another conference, the exact same week. In the world of magic, there is no shame whatsoever associated with the words, "You fooled me badly." As a matter of fact, it is the highest compliment that a magician can give another magician. And when those words get uttered, something amazing happens. The moment someone says, "You fooled me," somebody overhears it. And then somebody asks, "Oh my gosh, show me." "No, show this guy." "No, have you tried it with the blue deck? What if you tried it upside down?" "Did you, hey, Gary, get over here." This is what Nicholas Nassim Taleb called an anti-fragile network. Something fragile is like a wine glass. If it gets shocked, it shatters. Something robust would be like a rubber tire. You can bounce it around all the time. But something anti-fragile, like your muscles or your bone structure, actually gets stronger the more it's stressed. That is the culture that exists in magic. Now, in DEF CON, in general, we're looking at highly siloed for very good reasons. Everything from client safety to security to best practices to the fact that maybe we're a little bit nerdier on the DEF CON side. We tend to be highly siloed, and it looked like a little bit of a fragile environment to me. And so I began asking around, what are you guys doing about AI scams? One thing everybody agreed, yeah, it's bad. It's getting worse. And so I began to ask, well, what are you doing about it? And the picture that emerged to my ears, and keep in mind, I'm just a silly guy who sticks nails in his eyes for a living. The image that I saw in my mind was sort of a bunch of eggs in a very well-crafted basket, or maybe a bunch of sheep in a pen. And the idea was, we build the walls. That's what our job is. We keep everyone safe. And I said, yeah, but eventually something cracks, right? The call comes from inside of the house. What do you do then? What about the sheep? Blank stares. It's like, what do you mean? What do you do? Because my job is to keep the walls busy. And now I'm building chain link fences up here in order to handle this AI wave that's overwhelming stuff. And then obviously we're here. This is what's special about Convene, is because we actually want to make sure that these sheep are well able to defend themselves, that they're able to recognize a pathogen when it gets past the barrier. What would it take to convert a sheep into a wolf? Well, first of all, you'd have to let them out of the pen. You'd have to say, in a safe, secure way, similar to magic, in a place where there's no shame in getting got, that same kind of tiger cub rough and tumble play that little tigers engage in, those are the skills of offense and defense that are being built up. So that's exactly what you would do. In magic, if I sent my kid to magic camp and he came back and I said, how many kids did you fool? He's like, oh, I didn't fool anyone. But I watched all these tapes of magicians fooling other people, and I learned how to never get fooled by magic. I don't know. No, we have to play in offense. We have to play as the predator. Everything you're going to need to know about defending yourself, you will learn in trying to be the attacker. And it happens so naturally, it doesn't even require vigilance. That's the other word I heard at DEF CON. Always be vigilant. The problem with vigilance is that it requires calories. And eventually, those white knuckles stop being so white. You relax. In a moment of weakness, you end up clicking on the wrong thing. Let me tell you a story about the one time I ever caught a scam in the wild. I was 18 years old, working at the movie theater, and it was a two-person team. I was there at the cash register, and in walks a dude, and his lady pulls my other employee off to the side, and there I am at the cash register. Now, I had never heard of a short change before. How many of you guys have heard of a short change? Yeah, of course. All I knew at the age of 18, maybe 2 months into magic, was that something about the lyrical process, the agreement, that's 2 20s. That means that 10 is mine. We agreed that those are your 5s, and halfway through it, without ever even knowing what was happening, I felt this is a magic trick. And sure enough, after he left, we checked the register. They had run off with $50 of the movie theater's money. And that was the first time. Years later, I would find out that what was happening is that was my System 1 defense. How many of you guys know the difference between System 1 and System 2? Okay, for those of you who haven't heard, Daniel Kahneman, in his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, he asked the following question. He says, a bat and a ball together cost $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much is the ball? Any guesses? Y'all are wise enough to not bark out 10 cents because that's what your System 1 wanted to shout. When the real answer with your System 2 high-calorie system, you run the math and you realize, no, it can't be 10 because 10 plus $1.10 would be $1.20. It must be 5 cents and $1.05. That's the difference between System 1 and System 2. System 1 is your gut, System 2 is your head. Now, here's the thing. Most of our teaching, the story that emerged when I was at DEF CON, was to a solution largely top-down, meaning you had to do the training, and System 2. And this is an oversimplification, and I'm sure, and I know that everybody's working on clever workarounds for it, but in general, a lot of it seems to my ears to be defensive driving style, right? You watch a video, and then you take a quiz, and at some point, you're tested, and then your punishment is to watch a video and take a quiz, right? That's hypothetical knowledge, and that's important, and it works for an awful lot of people. Let's go ahead and say, out of the normal distribution of humans, let's go ahead and say what we're doing is working for 80% of the people. Great. What do we do with these folks? What do we do with these folks where the top-down System 2 training isn't taking, and they keep on clicking? How many of you guys are dealing with the problem of repeat clickers? And they get closer and closer to that edge where you have to do the math and figure out, am I going to have to fire this person and hire someone else? That's expensive. That's when maybe, just maybe, you want to start considering outrageous programs that don't scale but fix the person. To my eyes, the big problem is this. The core identity of everybody who takes one of these classes is hypothetical victim. And your job is to sit inside your house and to read about all the ways that the bad guys can get you. Memorize them all, hold them in your System 2 memory, and stay vigilant. Now, if I was going to teach somebody to make their house that they couldn't be broken into, what I would do is I would say, hey, come on out. My buddy's out of town. He said we could break into his house. Let's go steal a cookie. I'd go over to house number 1, and I'd say, go ahead, break in. And he'd say, well, how do I do that? I'm like, I don't know. How do you do it? And then he would start to jiggle handles. He's like, no. And he'd find an open window. Great. Go in that open window. Awesome. It's like, let's go to the next house. Next house. Oh, all the doors are locked. All the windows are drawn. Well, oh, but you know what? That UPS guy just got let in with no big deal. I'm going to go put on a costume. And then you got, great, very smart. You got a cookie. Third house. What about this one? Oh, my God. This house is Swiss cheese. Everything is loosey-goosey. I can get in. That's your house, my guy. But you see it differently when you have the identity not of the hypothetical victim, but instead of the former player. How many of you guys have been to like a Super Bowl party? And there's oftentimes somebody in a lazy boy who's holding court. He played all of one semester of college ball, and boy, does he know every single rule upside down and backwards and sideways. And the weird part is, he's right. That defense does suck. They should run the 5-man upside down. I don't know. But the important thing is he is speaking from a place of authority and a place of identity as somebody who knows what it's like to be on that gridiron. But that's what we want. What we want is something like a magician, somebody who has played in a safe thing. Here's the other thing. Think about this. You hire one of these red team penetration testers, they just pretty much walk right up and then plug in a USB and say that'll be $50,000. And it's like, wait, I'm not entirely sure what just happened there, but they're like, well, I just showed how bad your defense is. It's like, yeah, but that's very awkward to stop somebody in the middle of an attack. Right now, everybody only encounters a pathogen in two situations: a synthetic attack or a real pathogen. Now, the problem with synthetic attacks is that there's only so many fire drills that you can still get your adrenaline up about. What we need is a middle step to practice with stakes, to drill with a game where it's okay to lose. By the time, if we hit this spot, then when a real pathogen comes in, somebody is so practiced at reporting it not because they're doing it out of a sense of duty for the company, not because they're afraid it's a real virus, but simply because they think it's Gary in finance trying to get them again. And by God, I got him last time, and I'm not going to let him get me this time. And then finally, here's the other thing. How much time? How much time is all this going to take? Security training takes a lot of time, and when I talk to CEOs, none of them want their people out there playing games, practicing punchies. But really, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about practicing. I think Rickrolling has done more for security awareness training than just about anything else on the planet. But what we need to do is craft a culture that keeps it sandboxed for people to get their reps. And so that's when all these thoughts were going through my head when I got challenged. Normally, every so often, somebody is a fan of World's Greatest Con, and they reach out asking if I would do a podcast. And in this case, it was John Hoyt, CISO of Clemson University, doing the Cybersecurity Mentors podcast. I was like, yeah, I think he was just going to kind of fan out. I don't think he was ready for about a month's worth of firestorm coming in, because I said, hey man, it looks like we got to teach sheep to being wolves. It seems like we have to convert people into actually playing as the predator so they'll remember what they did and they'll see the world differently. And then he utterly shocked me. He said, great, when do we start? Turns out healthcare is, I believe, the #2 most targeted industry when it comes to phishing and AI deepfake scams. So he reached out to the head of the nursing program at Clemson. We got a crop of 80 18-year-old freshmen, kids, children, babes in the woods. And it was my job to convert them into deadly predators. Here's the secret to making that happen. And this is something all of you can take away right now. Small moves, low friction, 0 to 1. So I reached out to them, and I literally said, how many of you guys know what a hyperlink is? A few hands. Okay, that's the blue thing. Here's what a phishing email is. It's just something that looks serious, but is actually something else. So here's what I want you to do. All of you guys, go out, find a whole bunch of silly images, silly dogs. Great, find a funny image, and now I want you to write me. My email is brian@schwood.com, and you'll notice I wanted to use my actual email, and I wanted them to use their actual email. Because if we are in a synthetic environment, it's too easy to put that into a box and not experience real stakes. I want people to access the most intimate parts of their own minds and take ownership of becoming good at writing scamming emails. And sure enough, just like that, we got, as simple as the first one was, I told everyone, type this. Here is a serious document, seriously yours, serious man, FR. And when you clicked on it, it was a silly picture. That was the assignment. Instantly, 80 emails come flooding in, 0 to 1. Now, here's the important part. I don't think I'm overstating. I think that DEF CON is a little bit addicted to shaming people. I think that they're bold take. There are two levers in a good scam and a con. There's the fame lever and the shame lever. The shame lever, as you guys know, and it heartened me to hear this over and over again, doesn't work. It doesn't work. It feels good. It is technically a move, but it doesn't cause the behaviors that we want people to have. We must pull the fame lever. I encourage all of you guys to look up something called the Nurtured Heart Approach, NHA. It is a fundamentally different format of parenting. If you have a neurotypical child, then you can pull two levers. You can reward when they do good, and you can punish when they do bad. Sometimes if you have a special needs child, like my family found out, they are immune to that punishment lever. Once they cross the threshold, you're grounded. Keep on going, keep on going. 1 week, 2 weeks, a million years, they don't hear the difference. Punishment doesn't take. So instead, what you do is you alter the monetary supply of praise. The first step is to, however much praise you give in a day, you find 20 reasons to compliment them for nothing. If they're sitting there on the couch, it's your job as a parent to say, look at you, sitting all composed. Some people are all like, but not you. You're right. Look at you reading that book. Even when they do something bad. You know what? I saw you fighting with your sister, but you never resorted to hitting her. And I'm proud of you for that. All those things get them accustomed to all those compliments. And then when they have a bad behavior, you put it on yourself. You say, I'm going to do a reset. And that's it. That becomes the new worst thing you can do, is say, I'm going to do a reset. And then soon, they pick up on it. Soon, you could tell them, maybe you should do a reset. Okay. And then soon, the little sister is like, I think she needs to do a reset. And it becomes habituated just a little bit at a time, and it becomes the new normal. The reps matter. That's what we just heard with our sports analogy. We've got to do the reps. We've got to get them from 0 to 1 and keep doing the reps. The Nurtured Heart approach was very key when those emails came flooding in, because half of them were totally wrong. Half of them didn't have the hyperlink. Half of them were linking to the page instead of the actual image. You notice here that every single one, they got corrected in private. And they also did not get corrected by a system or a set of rules. They got corrected by a person they were trying to please, who responded with loving kindness and a bit of a right direction for how to do better. What I'm going to describe is all of 4 lessons. 4 lessons took these students from total newbies to weapons grade fishing riders. At the end of 1 week later, we came back, Nurtured Heart approach, right? We showed the results. We said, oh, it looks like some of you guys, did pretty good. Others need some work. But this is where we shone the spotlight. This is where we showered praise, because you'll notice I never told them what the image had to be. I told them to get creative, and creative they did get. They found all kinds of extraordinary, hilarious images, and we one at a time put them on the screen and laughed at them. They reacted, and everybody who had the spotlight shone on them glowed. And everybody who didn't, maybe they thought, I'll put a little effort more next time. And then, at the end of that, we set up the first challenge. Okay, that was good. You did a test. You've already done it. We're just going to make you better. Let me tell you something. Now I actually want you to try to trick me. Now, you don't know much about me, but let me tell you some general ideas. Talked about the trappings of authority. Talked about speaking to the interests of the person you're trying to scam. Talked about the urgency, right? All of those things. And then the next batch started getting good. This is only the second lesson. And now all of a sudden somebody's writing saying, your security presentation was so good, Mr. Brushwood. There's a security conference that I'd very much like you to apply for. Look at this. They added all of these trappings of forwarding on their own. I gave no instructions. I simply set incentives, and they got creative. And because they were owning the task, they came up with all this clever stuff. Oh my gosh, I'm freaking out for you. Suspect image, my old promo photo. I couldn't help but notice your glasses. Somebody else said, Mr. Brushwood, the whole time during the Zoom meeting, I don't know, but this was playing over your shoulder. Were you aware of it? It's kind of inappropriate. Right? Week 3. Week 3, we play the same thing. We celebrate, we highlight, we nurtured heart everybody who did the right thing, who owned the task, who played as deceivers. And then we set up, now here's the thing. You guys don't know much about me, Brian Brushwood. You guys know an awful lot about each other, though. You know what each other's anxieties are. You know what campus looks like. You know what your daily grind and difficulties are. So here's what we're going to do. For the first time, player versus player. You're going to write a phishing email that's going to target 3 of your fellow students. But you are going to be the target of 3 as well. Write your email very, very good, because you will get 1 point for each person who accidentally clicks on your gotcha. But you will get 2 points for each one you catch before you click. Again, I've given no instructions. I am not telling anyone to stay vigilant. I am simply setting up a game where the incentives, let them figure out all on their own that the way to win is by reporting everything, AKA being vigilant. And now it gets good. Now all of a sudden they're writing, your student account has an active hold, important deadline, click on it. Look at this one, a message from the president with stolen credentials, stolen headers, all of this. All of it goes to a gotcha image of their selection. Here is the important thing. By the time we get to the end, we tally up the winners, and then we give them an award. How many of you guys have read Robert Cialdini's book, Influence? It's a classic, a seminal classic. One of the most important experiments that all of us need to hold on to is the experiment where he took 2 neighborhoods. And in neighborhood A, he did nothing. In neighborhood B, they went door to door, and they gave awards for environmental stewardship. Once somebody hung that award on the wall, they could not help but find themselves sorting their recycling. Their participation rates went way up. When we look at cybersecurity awareness training, all training reduces the click rate and reduces the amount of phishing. But that last part, where it's the number of reports, that doesn't seem to go up very much because of the incentives. Now, imagine you were in a competitive litter picking up contest statewide and you took 3rd. For the rest of your life, it would be inconceivable, too incongruent for you to walk past some trash without putting it in the bin. That's what happens when you have played the game and you have you've moved from potential victim to former player, and that sticks forever. Think about something that you were proud of back in high school, and you're still proud of it to this day. This is something for everybody to get proud of that is earned. So this is what I'm up to. It's new. I've only done the pilot program at Clemson, but I suspect somewhere out there are at-risk always clickers, people who are on the edge of getting fired, and I say, give them to me. Let me play my game. All Gary Gygax did, the creator of Dungeons & Dragons, if you buy Dungeons & Dragons, page 1, he says, yo, this is just let's pretend with rules and dice. All I'm doing is playing the circle game, Rickrolling, with rules and dice. But as we keep going, we're going to develop best practices, and we're going to save the always clickers because we're going to change their core identity. Thank you, guys.
Hey! So yeah, man. So sorry, we're in the chat. You couldn't see the chat on the recorded thing. I think in some of these playbacks on the VODs, you'll be able to see some of the bits of the chats. But yeah, we're dealing with core identity stuff on this. This is, I think it was, oh yeah, it's Adam says, this reminds me of negotiation class or what I hear about improv classes, teaching people to be better at social by allowing them to do it, fail at it, and become great at it. Yeah, there's 2 extremely important vectors. Not only do we have an entire section of people who have never needed to be on guard against scams, we also just came out of a 5-year cycle where everybody was told to accept that Zoom calls and video interfaces are high-fidelity modes of communication, and they are absolutely not. And so because of that, we are not prepared. That hockey stick graph where I made my joke about an inconvenient truth, that's no BS. That is happening right now. That is 2 billion to 16 billion to 40 billion. Right now, we're at the point, I don't know if you heard me mention, but I think only 14% of all the fraud gets reported because of the friction of getting out of that chain gravity well. And we don't have any structures for people to practice with stakes against other people in these environments. So right now, everybody is box checking and just going for compliance. Much like the environment, nobody's really worried about this number, or nobody's behaving as though they're actually worried about this number. I suspect that over the next 2 years, the news is going to become an advertisement for just how serious this problem is. And that's part of the reason that I'm racing to be ahead of it, because I want not just hypotheticals, not just pie in the sky ideas, but actual evidence of systems that work and that can scale when we take on other educated. I like the Gary Gygax comp because it is something dead simple that with a bit of structure can become something that everybody can run. And I do appear to have a very specific set of skills. Like, there was definitely do we live in a simulation moment 6 months ago where I was looking like, let me get this straight. So we're actually seeing exponential increases in fraud. Yes, there actually are stories of people who have wired $24 million to outside fraudsters because they were the only human in the Zoom call. Yes. And what the solution appears to be is, for the most people, you can just educate them and they're already savvy. But for the folks who are at risk, the always clickers, you're telling me what you need is somebody uniquely qualified to take somebody who doesn't perceive themselves as a deception artist, place them lovingly and in a comfortable way into the role of deceiver, and allow them to get the reps enough to where they can now see the world differently and not think, how would a bad guy in the future get inside? But instead, that all-important sentence, how did, past tense, how did I crack this back when I was cracking it? That core identity, that is the system one feeling taking charge. So this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Eventually this talk will get good. It's fine. It's fine for now. In fact, as a matter of fact, anybody out there, if there's a conference coming up, I need the reps. I need the reps fast. So if there are any conferences between now and the summer that there's an opening, book me to give my wolf masking presentation. Feel free to link them to this. Just write me, brian@schwood.com. Let's see if that's on there. Oh, I guess also become a patron at patreon.com/modernrogue. Oh, where I believe, let me see if I maintained my stake. Patreon. Let's see. 4 stakes. There you go. 4 days of the road of using the Catch Up with Everybody Who Matters app in the chat in Patreon. Let's see. Yes, as a matter of fact, Princess Judith, that's another parallel is in the world of, so part of the reason that I'm so confident that what I'm offering is right is because at the time that Scam School launched, I was touring with a stage show called Scam Sasquatch and the Supernatural to deal with the problem of academic fraud, of people claiming that the dowsing was a science when it's a pseudoscience. And during the show, I put people in the position of having been fooled and then revealing how it was done, which was good, but not nearly as good for critical thinking as what Scam School did. Scam School was a different beast altogether because it put people, whatever fake learning you did, here's a trick, here's the method, the end. That is like, oh, that's neat. What you're feeling is the click of the dopamine of the loop closing on that and then going about your day unchanged. The real learning, and we have yet to get to it in the Scam School episodes, is when by habit and routine, by rote, we enter that C block, and all of a sudden you see the epiphany click in their mind as they're doing the real learning. This landscape. Now keep in mind, part of me wants to wonder, why has nobody else done this before? And then I have to remind myself that this type of crime is what, 30 years old? This whole type of crime is only 30 years old. So of course, the first solution will be the top-down system to traditional book learning teaching. And just like every other security situation, there's going to be a counterpunch to it. You got to figure out a different way to reach the people where that doesn't work. And again, simulation theory, it looks an awful lot like the world needs a Brian Brushwood right now, because I don't think I'm making up this FBI data. I don't think I'm making up this fraud apocalypse, this scam apocalypse. And I don't think I'm making up the 20-year history of me taking people who didn't perceive themselves as deceivers and placing them in the role. And I don't think I imagined the epiphany, the lights sparking in their eyes when they get it and they hold on to it. And I don't think I'm imagining all the people in the chat here who don't tell me about the trick they liked watching. Everybody tells me about the trick they liked doing. And I would submit that you guys are a little bit more robust in your defenses than most, specifically because of this type of action-oriented, bottom-up System 1 learning. So, thank you for my TED Talk. That's it. Speaking of which, I actually would like to give a TED Talk, a real TED Talk, not a TEDx. So that'll be the next thing. From here, because there's actual results, we're doing another season of the workshop at Clemson, and we'll have more data. But already, I mean, you can see just how quickly everybody went from 0 to 1. There we go. Princess Judith points out, it's like when the printing press was invented, they printed books to look like handwritten manuscript with miniatures and stuff. That's a very specific comparison to make, but it's accurate, dang it. All right, I believe it. Ah, yes, you are, real Fachi. Trickle-down crime fighting. That's right. Yeah, I'll come back to Canada. I was in Canada a few months ago. Just 4 months. Yeah. So, Deadman, if you've seen the Scam Sasquatch and the Supernatural, you'll notice there's a similar space to it. And I think it's urgent. Yes, Hawk Worley, you're right. I will have to. Luckily, having been somebody in public, I just assume everything everybody sends me is a lie or somebody messing with me. I mean, that doesn't make me scam-proof. WorldCon in LA. I don't know what WorldCon is. If you guys want to email me, that'd be good. Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm rather than just hang about, I'm gonna get my day started. I'm gonna hold back. Let me look at the. So we did the 11-cent slide. That's a good trick. We did the keynote. Oh, yeah. I got a scoundrel game. I guess we could check in on my vibe coding. Let's see, where was this? Oh. I think it was in office hours, in documents. Documents, office hours, scoundrel. Here we go. Look at this. Look at this. I made a scoundrel game. Isn't that neat? So here, I'll refresh it. It's persistent. Here, I'm gonna hit new game. So we got a 7 of diamonds, 4 of spades, 8 of diamonds, 9 of hearts. I'm gonna flee. Oh no, these are all, oh no, I have to kill all these. Anyway. It works. Codex, it's a thing. All right, guys. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and call it. I'll see you guys. Feel free to send me a message, brian@schwood.com. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being there, guys. This has been a really fun year so far. I hope you guys are digging it as much as I am. Also, if you're in town for South by Southwest, come let me know. Bye.